Have you ever wondered, amidst the ups and downs of life, who will truly be your loyal companion as you journey past 60? When you're young, the answer seems simple: family, close friends, those you've known since childhood. But as you approach the twilight years, life begins to change. Loved ones may be busy with their own pursuits, priorities may shift, and you might realize that the support system you've always relied on may not be as sturdy as you thought. This isn't a sad story, but an invitation to explore. Let's unveil the secrets of the essential pillars, the companions even more loyal than family as you age. This isn't a call to isolate yourself from loved ones, but a deep understanding of the source of true stability, ensuring you won't be left alone when you need help the most. By building a solid foundation based on these pillars, you'll gain the security, independence, and self-sufficiency to overcome any challenges life throws your way. So what are these pillars? Let's embark on this journey of discovery, because once you understand them, you'll never feel helpless, lonely, or unprepared again. The first pillar, and perhaps the most crucial, is financial stability. The stark truth is the most reliable companion you'll ever have isn't a person, but financial independence. Money may not buy happiness, but it certainly buys security, freedom, and peace of mind. The older you get, the more you realize that relying on family for financial support isn't a plan, but a significant risk. Your children have their own lives, their own expenses, and their own families to care for. Even if they love you dearly, they may not always be in a position to help when you need it most. Remember Richard, a 72-year-old man who always assumed his children would step up if he faced financial hardship. He helped them through college, lent them money when they needed it, and was always there when they called. But when an unexpected medical issue drained his savings, he turned to his children for help, only to find that they were struggling with mortgages, bills, and their own financial challenges. Not because they didn't care, but because life is inherently unpredictable. That's why financial stability is one of the most solid pillars you can build. It's not about becoming wealthy, but about being prepared. It's about having a plan for emergencies, a steady income you can count on, and a clear understanding of how to manage your money so you never have to depend on anyone else for survival. If you're in your 60s or older, now is the time to ask yourself, have I saved enough to cover unexpected expenses? Is my retirement income secure? Have I minimized the financial risks that could leave me vulnerable? If the answer is no, then now is the time to take action. Learn to budget wisely, avoid unnecessary debt, and invest in things that will provide long-term stability. Because in the end, your financial security is the one thing that will always be there for you, no matter what life throws your way. The second pillar, equally important, is physical health. There's one thing in life that no amount of love, money, or support from others can replace: your health. After 60, your body becomes either your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. The truth is, you can have all the financial security in the world, but if your health declines, your freedom vanishes. While family may care about you, they can't exercise for you, they can't eat the right foods for you, and they can't prevent the effects of aging for you. That responsibility falls entirely on your shoulders. Too many people neglect their health, assuming that when the time comes, someone will be there to take care of them. But the reality is that even if your family loves you, they have their own lives. They may not have the time, energy, or ability to become your caregiver. And relying on others to manage your health can leave you feeling powerless. That's why prioritizing your health now is one of the most crucial investments you can make in your future. Consider Carl, a 68-year-old man who was always active in his younger years, but let himself go after retirement. He figured he had plenty of time to get back in shape, but before he knew it, his energy levels plummeted, his mobility declined, and simple tasks became difficult. His children visited when they could, but they couldn't be there every day to help him. Eventually, he realized that if he wanted to maintain his independence, he had to take control of his health. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. You don't have to train like an athlete, but small, consistent efforts will make a huge difference. Move your body every day, eat foods that energize rather than harm you, and take health checkups seriously. If you've been ignoring warning signs, persistent aches and pains, difficulty walking, changes in energy levels, it's time to stop brushing them aside. Your future self will thank you for every healthy choice you make today. Because, in the end, your strongest support system isn't your children, siblings, or friends, but your own ability to be healthy, active, and capable. And the more you prioritize your health now, the less you'll have to rely on anyone else later. The third pillar we need to build is a strong social circle. One of the biggest mistakes people make as they get older is isolating themselves. Perhaps it happens gradually. Friends move away, loved ones pass away, and before you know it, your social circle has become smaller than you ever imagined. The problem is, without strong friendships, loneliness can creep into your life. And loneliness, especially after 60, is dangerous. It doesn't just affect your emotions, it affects your health, your mental acuity, and even your longevity. You might assume that family will always be there for companionship, but here's the truth. Your children have their own lives. They have careers, families, and responsibilities that keep them busy. They may love you dearly, but they can't be your only source of companionship. That's why one of the most critical support pillars is your social network. The people who care about you, the people who make you laugh, the people who bring energy into your life. These relationships aren't a luxury. They're an essential need. Look at Margaret, a 73-year-old woman who always relied on her family for companionship. She had 2 sons, both of whom loved her dearly. But as the years passed, they became busier with work and raising their own families. They still called, but the daily visits and weekend gatherings became less frequent. Margaret began to feel lonely, waiting for phone calls that didn't always come. Then, she made a change. She started reconnecting with old friends, joined a community group, and even took up new hobbies that introduced her new people. Suddenly, her life was filled with conversations, laughter, and a sense of purpose. She didn't have to wait for her family to feel connected. She built that connection herself. Friendships, community groups, and even casual acquaintances offer you something invaluable, a sense of belonging. Whether it's a neighbor you chat with, a book club you join, or a group at your local gym, having people in your life outside of family create a foundation of emotional strength. And the more connections you build now, the more support you'll have in the years to come. So, ask yourself, who in your life currently brings you joy? If the answer isn't clear, then it's time to expand your circle. Because, in the end, a strong social network isn't just about having company. It's about having people who lift you up, remind you of your worth, and make every stage of life richer. Next, we need to seek a sense of purpose. One of the most overlooked sources of support in life isn't another person, but your own sense of purpose. After 60, many people start to feel a shift. The roles that once gave meaning to life, parenting, career, caregiving, begin to fade. Retirement sets in, children become independent, and the pace of life slows down. And without a clear sense of direction, it's easy to start feeling invisible, unnecessary, or even lost. The truth is, no matter how much your family loves you, they can't give you purpose. That's something you have to build for yourself. Having a reason to wake up in the morning, whether it's a passion, a project, or a goal, keeps your mind sharp, your emotions stable, and your life fulfilling. It's what keeps you engaged with the world instead of just watching from the sidelines. Think of someone like George, a 70-year-old retired engineer. When he left the workforce, he was excited to finally relax. But after a few months, he started feeling restless, as if something was missing. His days felt empty. His children visited occasionally, but they had their own lives. That's when he decided to take action. He started volunteering at a local school, teaching kids how to build things. Before long, he had a new reason to wake up every morning, something that made him feel valued, useful, and connected to life. Purpose doesn't necessarily have to come from a job. It can be anything that makes you feel alive. Learning something new, mentoring others, gardening, painting, traveling, or even just setting personal goals. It's about doing things that bring you joy and keep you active mentally and emotionally. If you feel like your best days are behind you, then it's time to change that mindset. Your purpose isn't something that disappears as you get older. It evolves. And the more you invest in finding meaning in your daily life, the less you'll have to rely on others for happiness. Because, in the end, the strongest support you can have isn't someone holding your hand, but the fire inside you that keeps pushing you forward. Next is developing emotional resilience. Life has a way of testing you, no matter your age. After 60, the challenges don't stop. They just change. Friendships fade, loved ones pass away, health issues arise, and sometimes life feels lonelier than before. The truth is, no matter how much support you have from others, your most reliable source of strength will always come from within. Your ability to adapt, process emotions, and find peace in difficult moments. It's what helps you keep moving forward even when circumstances aren't going your way. Too many people rely on family as their emotional support system, believing that their children, siblings, or relatives will always be there to comfort them. But the reality is that everyone has their own battles to fight. They may not always have the time or energy to be the source of emotional stability you need. That's why building emotional resilience is so important. It allows you to find strength within yourself instead of constantly seeking it from others. Consider Helen, a 75-year-old woman who lost her husband after 40 years of marriage. At first, she leaned on her children for emotional support. But over time, she realized that while they cared deeply, they had their own families and responsibilities to manage. She knew she couldn't expect them to fill the void she felt inside. Instead of letting her grief consume her, she focused on strengthening herself emotionally. She joined a support group, started journaling, and practiced daily gratitude. Over time, she discovered something powerful. She didn't need others to heal her sorrow. She had the strength to heal herself. Emotional resilience isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be strong all the time. It's about acknowledging your pain, processing it in a healthy way, and developing coping mechanisms that allow you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. It's about having outlets, whether it's writing, meditation, therapy, or simply self-reflection, that help you find inner peace instead of relying on others to provide it. No matter what life throws your way, the ability to stand on your own 2 feet will always be one of your greatest sources of support. The more you cultivate emotional resilience, the less you'll feel dependent on others to make you feel whole. Finally, but no less important, is adaptability. If there's one truth about life after 60, it's this: nothing stays the same. People change, circumstances shift, and the things you once relied on may not be as reliable as they used to be. The key to thriving during this stage of life isn't clinging to the past, but your ability to adapt. The people who struggle the most with aging are often the ones who resist change, who hold on too tightly to what used to be instead of embracing what is. But those who learn to adjust, keep themselves open-minded, and welcome new possibilities, they find joy and fulfillment no matter what life brings. Many people assume that once they reach a certain age, they'll settle into their ways. But that kind of thinking can be dangerous. It can prevent you from exploring new opportunities, meeting new people, and learning things that can enrich your life. Being adaptable isn't just about accepting change. It's about actively seeking ways to grow with it. Look at someone like Frank, a 78-year-old man who always relied on in-person friendships to stay connected. When many of his friends moved away or passed away, he initially felt lost. He thought, I guess this is just how things go when you get old. But then, instead of resigning himself to loneliness, he decided to adapt. He learned how to use video calls to stay connected with family far away, joined an online discussion group about history, and even made new friends in the process. Instead of letting the change defeat him, he allowed himself to evolve with it. The people who thrive after 60 aren't necessarily the ones with the most resources or the strongest support systems. They're the ones who refuse to be stuck in their old ways, the ones who stay curious, and the ones who find ways to adjust no matter what life throws their way. If one door closes, they find another. If a relationship changes, they find new ways to connect. If something no longer works, they're willing to try something different. Your adaptability is one of the greatest support pillars you will ever have. It allows you to navigate life with resilience, optimism, and confidence. And the more you embrace change instead of fearing it, the less you'll feel like you're losing something, and the more you'll realize that every stage of life offers something new to gain. So, we've explored together the 6 essential pillars for building a fulfilling and solid life after 60. We've seen that financial stability, physical health, a strong social circle, a sense of purpose, emotional resilience, and adaptability aren't just abstract concepts, but tangible tools we can use to create a brighter future. As you approach the twilight years, remember that you're not alone. You have the power to build a life that is full, meaningful, and filled with joy, no matter the circumstances. Start today, one step at a time, to build these pillars, and you'll discover that true support comes from within, from your self-sufficiency, self-confidence, and ability to overcome any challenge life throws your way. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully, this information will give you inspiration and motivation to live a fuller and more meaningful life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss other valuable content. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it to your life. Your support is an invaluable motivation for us to continue creating more quality and useful videos. See you in the next videos.